What is up, bros and broettes? I am Inkslasher, and today the plot thickens. If you missed yesterday's video, I really strongly recommend going to check it out. But basically, it was about how create a class was actually not going to be, or is not going to be, in Call of Duty World War II, and this thing called Divisions is. And I hypothesized that that wasn't actually true. That Divisions was still going to be a form of create a class, but the only thing that was going to change is the perks of your create a class were going to change based on the division that you chose. And based off of today's information, I was actually right. So the information we got today was the name of all 5 of the divisions, a brief description, and on top of that, an image of one of the divisions itself. So I thought I'd show you all of that and give you an explanation to what this actually means for the game. But first, let's check out this video that Sledgehammer uploaded to their Twitter. So clearly this right here is the patch for the Infantry Division, which we're actually going to talk about in a little bit. So first, let's discuss what the 5 divisions are. We got Airborne, Mountain, Infantry, Armored, and Expeditionary Force. We're going to talk about all of those in depth, but we're first going to start with Airborne. So the description of the Airborne Division is first to the fight, where you move fast and stay quiet. And based off of that description and my assumptions from yesterday, we can assume that some of the perks for the Airborne Division are going to be something like lightweight, that makes you able to run a little bit faster, and also dead silence or ninja, depending on what they call it in the game, which will keep your footsteps silent. So this is kind of all starting to come together and make sense. So based on your division, this is going to give you your perks. In the case of the Airborne Division, they're going to be perks that help you move fast and stay quiet. So based off of the video leading up to E3 we saw before, it showed us the Infantry Division patch. And assumably, since there's 5 days left until E3, every single day they're going to reveal a patch from each of the divisions. But I thought it would be interesting to kind of look at some of the real-life patches from these divisions before they actually showed them and see how different they are when they actually come out. Now, I'm not going to upload a video for every single patch that they show us, but if you follow me on Twitter, I'll be sure to show you guys the patches as they get released. However, here's a couple of options that they have for the Airborne Division. So here's the first one. As we can tell by the image, this is kind of like an eagle's claw or a bird's claw, hence the Airborne Division. So the first one there was for the 17th Airborne Division. This one you're looking at here is of the 101st Airborne Division, and this one is very clearly a bald eagle. So in other words, it's going to be something to do with a bird as the insignia for the Airborne Division. The next division is called the Mountain Division, and the description of it's interesting. It says, focusing on precise and deadly sharpshooting. And I'm not 100% sure what that means. Thinking in the past of perks we've seen in Call of Duty, there's only a few certain perks that I can think of. Marksman from an older Call of Duty games, Stalker from older Call of Duty games, but overall I can't really think of too much. The only other perk that I can think of is a really old one called Iron Lungs, which allows you to hold your breath longer with sniper rifles. But if you have any ideas for this division, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below. So the patch or insignia you're looking at here is of the 10th Mountain Division. This is kind of the most common patch that I saw for the Mountain Division, and this division, as I did some research on it, fought from about 1943 to 1944 in the mountains of Italy, hence their name, the Mountain Division. And based on the research I did on them, I really couldn't figure out anything more of to what perks they'll have or what traits they'll have. Really, I have no idea, and that's why I'm asking you to leave some comments of ideas down in the comment section. The next division we're looking at is the Infantry Division, and this is the only one we've seen the video for, the only one we've seen the patch and insignia for, but the description of this one, once again, is very vague. All it says is, be the tip of the spear. Now, this kind of phrase, the tip of the spear, has been said in Call of Duty, many Call of Duty games before, and it's kind of like the catchphrase for infantry divisions. Now, doing my research, in World War II, infantry divisions were by far the most popular, and they're kind of what you really picture when you think of the foot soldier in World War II, the infantry divisions, the people on the ground, the people with weapons. And even if we listen to the video one more time, that noise that you're hearing in the background there is the sound of an M1 Garand shooting, and then kind of the magazine ping shooting out of the top of the magazine. That's like kind of the iconic noise of the M1 Garand. This makes me wonder whether specific weapons are going to be specific to divisions, or whether you can use any weapon when playing as any division. My guess would be that you could use any weapon, but based off of descriptions and based off of the noise in the background of that kind of trailer, maybe weapons are going to be specific to divisions. But for that, we'll have to wait and find that out at E3. Next up, we've got the Armored Division, and the description of this one is pretty basic. Bring the heaviest firepower. And based off of that one, the only thing I can think of is explosions, explosions, and more explosions. I'm guessing this class is going to have things like RPGs, bouncing betties, and basically anything that has to do with tanks, because back in World War II, that is what armored divisions had to do with tanks. So maybe some C4. We're still yet to know whether or not tanks are going to be in multiplayer, and only time will tell for that one. That is definitely something we will find out at E3, but if tanks are in the multiplayer, this is going to be the division that's heavily involved with those. If tanks are not in the multiplayer, I think this division is just going to be heavily involved with explosions, whether that be C4, RPGs, bazookas, or whatever. So back in World War II, the armored divisions were nicknamed the Old Ironsides, and you can see their patch right here. Now, the description of them on Wikipedia is they dealt with armor and mechanized infantry. In other words, they dealt with tanks and they used tanks. So only time will tell whether these tanks are actually going to be in World War II or not, but this would be the division to deal with them. So the final division is called the Expeditionary Force, and this one is by far the most interesting to me. The description of it is packing heat with incendiary shells, and based off of that description, I can think of two things. The first of which is stopping power is back. If you don't remember, stopping power was a perk way back in the day, back up to Modern Warfare 2, that added damage to your weapon. This hasn't been seen in Call of Duty for a really long time because it was considered overpowered. However, this may be the return of it. The other option is that this division deals with fire. Incendiary shells, they could have flamethrowers, they could have other things like Molotov cocktails, and fire could be their thing. We can't really tell until we actually see a list of the perks and see what this division actually does, but as of right now, based off of that description, I think those are the two options. Now, as far as Expeditionary Force, all that means is it's a force that fights in a foreign country. Now, the Canadian Expeditionary Force, which was a force that fought in World War II, was a force of Canadian soldiers that fought in a battle called Vimy Ridge. Now, if you're American, you've probably never heard of this battle before, but if you're Canadian, you probably have. And this battle was actually during World War I, and the Canadian Expeditionary Force mainly took place in World War I. There are in some battles in World War II and kind of dispersed now, but that's kind of where they took place. So that is kind of one option of what this could be. Now, a more recent Expeditionary Force, and the one that I am guessing is in this game, is called the Marine Expeditionary Force. And basically, this is the largest air ground task force in the Marines. And this right here, what you're looking at, is the patch or insignia for the Marine Expeditionary Force, and this is probably what I'm guessing will be in Call of Duty World War II. But hey, you never know, maybe we'll have some Canadian soldiers in there. So what does this mean for Call of Duty? Basically, the only thing that this means is this supports what we talked about yesterday. The divisions are going to have certain perks or traits based on the division that you're playing. Now, on yesterday's video, I saw a lot of people freaking out saying that they don't like this. We literally don't know what this is all about yet. I'm just bringing you all of the information we know as of right now. I wouldn't worry too much. I wouldn't say Call of Duty World War II is already dead because of this. No, not at all. We don't have enough information. All we know is that they're trying to make a little bit of a change, and this change may be great for the game. We don't know yet. But guys, I strongly suggest if you're interested in this, you hit that subscribe button, because over the next few days, we're going to get so much information to deal with Call of Duty World War II as E3 starts this weekend. And I can't wait to bring you guys the information. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're interested, and let me know down in the comments what you think of all of the information I brought to you today. Also, let me know what you think about me also bringing in the historical facts that I told you guys about. Do you like that? Do you hate that? Is it too boring? Feel free to let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, it would be very greatly appreciated if you could hit that like button. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.